The Xyraxi warriors, each a monument of skill and pride, watched in amusement as the human descended from his modest craft. They had never seen a lone warrior approach them without a fleet behind him or a battalion at his side. In their minds, this man was either a fool or a desperate soul seeking a swift end. He wore a dark, streamlined suit with metal reinforcements at the shoulders, knees, and chest, primitive compared to their armor, yet somehow distinct. His face remained unreadable, eyes shaded as he took in the scene, a clearing surrounded by the galaxy's most formidable warrior women, each prepared to crush him. The Xyraxi commander, a warrior of renown with violet skin and battle-scarred armor, strode forward. She was a symbol of Xyra's indomitable spirit, renowned for her victories on blood-soaked worlds. She raised her spear, its tip crackling with energy, as she pointed it at him. "Human, you are either lost or foolishly brave," she declared, a smirk twisting her lips. "Why have you come here alone?" For a moment, silence lingered. Then the man spoke, his voice steady. "I am here to test my strength. I have heard much about Xyraxi warriors. I want to see if the stories match reality." Her laugh rang out, and it was mirrored by those around her. They found the notion absurd, this human standing alone on a world that had only known the feat of their warriors. "You are welcome to try," she mocked, waving her hand dismissively. "But do not think us as simple as the monsters of your nightmares." The other warriors joined in, their laughter ringing across the desert landscape as they formed a circle around him, expecting an easy triumph. As the Xyraxi advanced, the human remained composed, observing each of them with a calm intensity. They saw his stance as weakness, unaware that he was taking note of every subtle movement, every shift in their grip on their weapons. The first warrior lunged forward, her blade flashing in the light. She was quick, her muscles trained to react in mere milliseconds, yet he was faster. With an almost lazy fluidity, he sidestepped, caught her wrist, and twisted it back with a precision that defied their understanding. The Xyraxi gasped as her weapon dropped to the ground. The second warrior attacked immediately, attempting to take advantage of what she perceived as a rare opening. But this too ended in her weapon clattering to the ground, her strike evaded and her balance disrupted with a force that left her sprawling. As he continued to disarm each of them, one by one, a quiet awe began to settle in. Their laughter faded, replaced by whispers of disbelief. "He's not human," one murmured. "Or he's something more," another whispered. Their leader, realizing this was no ordinary encounter, adjusted her stance. She summoned her inner reserves of power and signaled the others to regroup. This time, they formed a coordinated assault, attacking with synchronized strikes meant to overwhelm any defense. Just as they launched their assault, the human paused, as if something within him had shifted. His form seemed to pulse, his silhouette casting an unnatural glow. A wave of energy rippled out from him, throwing several warriors backward. Dust spiraled upward, and the ground beneath them shuddered as his latent power surged to the surface. "What is this?" the commander whispered, struggling to regain her footing. The energy continued to emanate from him, shimmering like the edge of a blade as it cut through the air. He exhaled, steady and unyielding, and the ground beneath his feet fractured as the power pulsed again, greater this time. The Xyraxi leader looked to her soldiers, silently communicating a new tactic. She wouldn't let pride dictate her next move. This was an unknown threat, and she would fight it as such. The human warrior, fully empowered now, looked up and met the commander's gaze. "You wanted to know what makes a human warrior," he said. "I will show you." The Xyraxi launched themselves at him, each warrior amplifying her strength with energy drawn from the very essence of Xyraxi battle prowess. Their weapons, designed to pierce nearly any armor, crackled with deadly force. But as their strikes landed, they found themselves deflected by an invisible barrier of energy surrounding him. Each attack met with resistance. The human warrior moved as if anticipating every strike, every tactic. He adapted with uncanny precision, matching their battle styles, moving with a speed they had rarely encountered among even the fiercest opponents. The Xyraxi felt the crushing weight of realization as each move, each thrust, each swing of a blade failed. For the first time in their lives, they were beginning to understand defeat. Not because they were unskilled, but because they faced a force that challenged their very understanding of power. Finally, only the commander remained. Her warriors, injured and exhausted, had fallen back, forced to observe from the perimeter. She tightened her grip on her weapon, narrowing her eyes. "You've bested many, but you won't defeat me so easily," she spat, her voice a mixture of anger and reluctant respect. "Then show me," the human replied, his gaze as unyielding as ever. They clashed, her weapon meeting his energy-infused defenses with a force that echoed across the wasteland. She was fast, her attacks flowing like water, each strike meant to be the decisive blow. Yet he parried every attempt, his movements as seamless as though he had studied her for a lifetime. With a final powerful strike, the commander unleashed a blow that would have felled any warrior on Xyra. But the human didn't flinch. Instead, he raised his hand, catching her weapon mid-swing. Energy erupted from his grip, and the blade shattered. The commander staggered back, weaponless and breathless. She looked up, seeing the human's face, now softened by a strange compassion. "You fought well," he said, "but you have yet to see the true strength of humanity." And as he released her weapon, allowing her to retreat, she understood that the tales of Earth's warriors would soon fill the galaxy, spreading with the speed of stars themselves. The Xyraxi commander fell to her knees, her shattered weapon lying in the dust beside her. Around her, the other warriors remained silent, each face marked by shock and something deeper, a reluctant respect. They were accustomed to conquest, to domination, but this was different. They had faced a force that neither their strength nor their pride could conquer. She looked up at the human, her face bruised but her gaze unyielding. "What are you?" she managed, her voice echoing in the stillness. The human warrior paused, seeming to search for an answer that would encompass all he was, all he had shown them. "I am a warrior, just as you are," he said. "But where you see power in yourselves alone, I have found mine in something far greater." She frowned, almost offended. "You wielded energy. Strange energy. It's a power I've never seen in your kind." "It's true that my abilities are unusual for my people," he admitted. "But every human holds within them a strength that grows in hardship, and a resolve that doesn't bend. We are shaped by struggle, and it makes us who we are." The Xyraxi glanced at each other, shifting in place as they absorbed his words. They were known for their battle-hardened spirits, their unyielding resolve. Yet somehow they could sense the depth of his meaning, the way his strength came from something within, something that seemed infinite. The commander stood, adjusting her stance to regain her composure. Despite her injuries, her chin was high, her pride unbroken. She turned to her warriors, her gaze hardening with determination. "We have trained our whole lives to become the galaxy's most formidable force," she announced. "Today, we have been shown that our strength alone is not enough." The other warriors listened intently, their faces marked by a fierce resolve. "We, daughters of Xyra, have never turned away from a challenge," she continued. "If this human can show such power, then so can we. We will not let our defeat today define us. Instead, we will learn, grow, and surpass even this." The warriors raised their fists in agreement, a renewed spirit igniting within them. The human warrior watched, a slight smile playing on his lips. He had seen this resilience before, the strength that came from facing failure and rising again. It was a reminder of the indomitable nature that he had recognized in his own people. The commander turned back to him, her voice steady. "You have shown us something powerful, human. But don't think this is the end. We will return, and we will be stronger." "I wouldn't expect any less from you," he replied, nodding in respect. "I look forward to that day." The Xyraxi returned to their homeworld with a new purpose. They threw themselves into training with an intensity that bordered on obsession. They dissected every detail of their encounter, studying each movement, each moment of the battle to find what they had lacked. Their leader, humbled but determined, led them with an unyielding drive, pushing them to the brink and beyond. They trained not only their bodies but also their minds, learning to tap into a deeper reserve of strength. They sought guidance from their elders, uncovering forgotten techniques and honing their abilities to adapt, just as the human had done. Their once unbreakable faith in their own strength transformed into a belief in growth and change. In time, they would become stronger, more disciplined, and more adaptable than ever before. Meanwhile, the human returned to his people, bringing with him tales of the Xyraxi. Word spread across the galaxy about the warriors of Xyra and their newfound resilience. Rumors of their encounter with a lone human warrior traveled swiftly, sparking curiosity and fear alike. The legend grew, and the galaxy began to regard the humans with newfound respect, and perhaps a touch of wariness. In response, other species grew curious about humanity, seeking both alliances and rivalries. Diplomats and warriors alike began to approach humans with caution, understanding that their strength came from a place beyond the physical, a unity of mind, will, and a purpose that could not be easily shaken. But as the galaxy transformed, so did the humans and the Xyraxi. They became unexpected allies, bound by the respect forged in the fires of battle. The Xyraxi continued to train, even inviting human warriors to share their teachings. Together, they developed techniques and strategies that blended their unique strengths, creating an alliance that would change the course of galactic history. Years passed, and the galaxy bore witness to countless battles, alliances, and moments of peace. But the story of the lone human warrior and the Xyraxi lived on, a legend retold by countless species around countless fires. It became a story of transformation, of overcoming arrogance, and of finding strength in unity rather than division. The human warrior and the Xyraxi commander remained at the heart of this story, a reminder to all that true power lies not in conquering others, but in pushing the limits of one's own potential. And as they continued their journey, the galaxy moved with them, shaped by the lasting impact of their encounter. In the end, they were no longer just human and Xyraxi. They were warriors of the galaxy, forever bound by a shared pursuit of strength, wisdom, and the power that only grows in the face of adversity. With the passage of time, the bond between the Xyraxi and the human warrior deepened, evolving from mere respect into a profound alliance. The Xyraxi, who once prided themselves solely on physical prowess, began to embrace new methods and perspectives. Under the guidance of the human warrior, they studied strategies of resilience and adaptation, philosophies rooted in human history, tales of battles won not by strength but by endurance and intellect. The Xyraxi began to transform, developing not only as warriors but as thinkers, innovators, and leaders. The human, too, was changed by this experience. Among the Xyraxi, he found a society with a sense of honor that matched his own. He learned to appreciate their warrior traditions and was humbled by the grace with which they embraced change. Together, they cultivated a shared strength that bridged their differences, uniting them as a force unparalleled in the galaxy. Inspired by their bond, the Xyraxi commander and the human warrior proposed an ambitious project to forge a lasting peace and strength across the galaxy. They called it the Starforge Alliance. Together, they reached out to other species, inviting them to join this union of knowledge and strength. Some came with curiosity, others with skepticism, but all were welcomed, provided they sought to grow beyond their limitations. The alliance became a beacon of unity, a testament to the potential born from humility and cooperation. Under the guidance of the Xyraxi and the human, they built a stronghold, a monumental structure at the edge of the galaxy that served as both a fortress and a symbol of their resolve. It was a place where warriors trained alongside philosophers, and where knowledge and strength were given equal importance. The galaxy was not without its challenges, and threats emerged from factions who feared the power of the alliance. Yet, united under the banner of the Starforge, they withstood each test, defending not just their own worlds but the idea of a galaxy united in shared purpose. Decades passed, and the Xyraxi commander and the human warrior grew older, their influence shaping countless lives across worlds they could never have imagined. Their names became legends, whispered in stories and celebrated in festivals across the galaxy. The warrior's teachings became an integral part of Xyraxi culture, and he was remembered not as a conqueror, but as a teacher, a guide who had shown them the way to something greater. The Xyraxi commander was also revered among humans, a symbol of courage and transformation who had broken through the barriers of arrogance to find wisdom. Together, they had built a legacy that reached beyond the stars, a story that inspired each new generation to challenge its limits and seek strength in unity. In time, the human warrior and the Xyraxi commander passed into history, but their teachings endured. They had shown the galaxy that true power lay not in domination, but in the courage to learn, adapt, and unite. As new heroes arose, inspired by the legends of the past, the Starforge Alliance continued to shine as a beacon of hope and strength, forever guided by the spirits of the lone human warrior and the Xyraxi who had once laughed, only to learn the greatest lesson of all, that together, they could achieve the unimaginable. And so, their journey continued, written in the stars, a legacy that would guide the galaxy for all time.